Hello and welcome to another really just few and far between episode of the Diversified Semantic Layer podcast. This is Eric Vallow, and I'm joined by a scant crew of Mr. Clint Vosloo, Alex Marks, and the Jamie Oswald.
Hey, how Haiti?
Jamie rocking the podcast from his new crib for the first time.
Baldwin.
Are you still in your grandma's bedroom, or do you actually have your own office space in the new crib?
It's got a TV and a couch and stuff in here. That's cool.
You fancy.
That's right. Plenty of unpacked boxes if you're into that sort of thing.
It's almost a man cave.
Yeah, as soon as I get the My Little Ponies out of here, it'll be nice.
Aren't those unicorns?
We don't have a unicorn. We have a Pegasus and just a regular pony so far.
Okay. Noted.
Excellent. What's happening in SAP Analytics news in the world?
Well, it's seen that I'm the African, I can talk about the elephant in the room. Steve Lucas was boisterous on stage. I think we should definitely cover that. Calling Tableau dead end or dead beat, one of those two, and having obviously a good go at Oracle, which I think we're used to. And then you can see Tableau struck back. So I'll raise it, and you guys can give me your thoughts on it.
So what did Tableau actually say back? You'll have to catch me up.
Yeah, I missed that.
That their product isn't actually doggy-doo. Although that wasn't the term that was used.
Okay.
Yeah, he used the word. He called it shit, exactly.
Great,
All
thanks, Clint. Now I have to not edit that out.
All right. And so, were they firing back at Desky? What were they competing with there?
Their stock price is doing well. Their market share is growing. They're closing larger deals. They're certainly a force to be reckoned with. I used to be a huge fan of news shows on cable, and there's nothing like having people from opposing political parties just foaming at the mouth, screaming at each other, and throwing chairs, and it's entertaining. I'm not sure that it's helpful, and my first reaction when I saw Steve Lucas's original remarks was that probably 1/3 of the room is already got Tableau in their organization, another third has Click in their organization, and who knows where the other third are.
They have both.
Possibly. and so I didn't find it helpful necessarily, but it is what it is, And so, like I said, if you like theater, we've certainly had some.
So say what you will. I mean, I think that it's all about organizational fit, right? If you don't have any sort of enterprise requirements, I think Tableau and ClickView are fantastic solutions, right? And they are. That's why everybody loves them until they have to be enterprise solutions. And I think that's where those things start falling down. I mean, it's you'll never beat Excel because Excel you can change the numbers in, and you'll never beat Tableau because Tableau doesn't need your IT department until it's too late anyway.
So my perception on that was, I mean, I didn't see the keynote. I only read the press release that was about it, or the one sort of news article about it. But it was almost like Steve was going on about how you can't put lipstick on the pig and you can't use just visualization tool. You need the whole package in terms of, so yes, make a decision, but then being able to act on it, which is what we've talked about for years from analytics. You can't analyze, but you can't action. But in this, no matter what front-end tool you use, whether it's Desky or Tableau, Click, Lumira, it's the same issue. The issue is that those are visualizations tools. So it was, to me, the way I read it and the way I took the article was slamming Tableau because they can't do actionable and do reads. I mean, do writes back to the database. But for SAP, it's been like that as well. Besides now, obviously, they had a platform and then pushing more customizable apps that have action. That was my take.
So if Lumira, the big announcement I think since we spoke last was Lumira Server for the BI4 platform add-on is available. SAP's second swag at it, and really what I think a lot of organizations have been waiting for when you look at Lumira for enterprise integration, hooks into the business objects platform and making it feel like part of the overall holistic experience. Is that enough at this point? Is enterprise experience and scalability and all those important things that Tableau doesn't necessarily do well enough to unseat the incumbent?
I think for business objects customers, yes. Sorry, Jeremy.
No, go ahead.
Pacific lag there. I think for enterprise customers, yes, but the slightly disappointing, and yes, it is a second swag, and I don't want to pick up that stone because it's a nasty one, is the functionality now still very limited with what you can do for that integration between the two. But there's the integration, so that's a good starting point. If you are an enterprise customer already and are looking at Tableau and Click and there is a presence there, then I think it is enough. But if you net new, I don't think it's really going to give you the warm and fuzzy for that additional investment for platform.
See, I just feel like SAP has themselves in sort of a funny corner, right? Because the big draw is Lumira integrates with your whole suite, right? But the problem is that I can't take advantage of that unless I'm on 4.1, the newest service pack, and I can go and get whatever the latest and greatest in Tableau is like today, right? Not need the 6-month lead time I need to upgrade my BI system. So I think that SAP would have a lot smoother time if they made the integration a little more backward compatible. Because I just, I think they've got a little bit the cart before the horse, right? Because the departments are the one buying Tableau and ClickView, right? IT isn't buying those tools. What SAP wants is for IT to push those tools, but IT has a hard time doing that, knowing that it's going to be 6 months before they can deliver it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it does make sense, and some of the things that I've seen, just in the small number of customers that I've worked with, is there are still a lot of classic customers on classic licensing, and they don't feel like they have a compelling reason to open the Pandora's box of a licensing discussion to start using the new tools. I'm working on a migration right now. It's my first time deploying Support Pack 6, so crossing my fingers there. But they did not jump on the Excelsius bandwagon. They did not jump on the Explorer bandwagon because at that time they didn't want to put out more money, for licensing. So I'm just kind of curious, who is that an outlier, or is that pretty common that licensing will still be an issue for some?
I think for SAP, with XI 3.1 or XI 3.1 coming end of life, end of the year, it's actually good timing for them, because we're having quite a few conversations this side of the planet where people are on 3.1 Webby only because of licensing. They want to deploy to 4.1, and that's putting them in the position to say, okay, well, how are we doing our analytics? Are we using Webby as a Swiss Army knife just because we've had to because of licensing? And then because you're going to be deploying new, you can look at Lumira, you can look at the add-on, you can look at Design Studio and all that other integration. So from that side, from the uptake, you got I think there are a hell of a lot of old legacy customers that, if they want to stay in sort of maintenance state, they need to upgrade to 4.1, and that'll put them in a position. It doesn't help the 4.0 or the 4.1 earlier releases, as Jamie alluded to, unless that backward compatibility gets sorted out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know, at my company, even my admin is really against going to SP6, right? We know we want to go to 4.1, but he doesn't want to go to SP6 because it's too new. And, it's hard to say, well, we need to jump from 4.0 to 4.1 and still not be able to take advantage of those tools. So I think that's where a lot of customers are really just trying to figure out, how do I get to that next level? And you've got to worry about licensing. You've got to worry about hardware or even just VMs, because Lumira changes your sizing, right? It's not just an add-on. So I think that there's a lot of things out there, and I think that SAP is clearly motivated to get it moving. I just think that none of it is easy, right? I mean, it's if the differentiator between Lumira and Tableau are that it integrates seamlessly into your BI stack, then it really needs to integrate seamlessly into your BI stack. And I'm not sure that we understand how to seamlessly integrate it yet.
Do you think that's, I mean, the main reason we've got customers this side who went to 4.1 was for that integration? Very similar, Jamie, from what I understand, you guys were in, where you went with Lumira on HANA, and that integration was going to come to the BI platform. So, the beginning of the year, a whole heap of investment and money was spent to get them to 4.1 SP3, which is where you needed to be for that integration. Come April this year, and that gets stopped. So, I know those customers don't have the warm and fuzzy about what's happening with this new BI platform add-on, because yes, I know it's a change of direction, but it feels half-baked to them, and that's kind of their honest feedback to me. And it's sort of, well, let's see where this thing goes, and let's wait for that integration to be tightly knit before we're going to, because we've already gone to 4.1 SP3 and spent that money, and now we can't get what we want, so let's make sure that integration is going to be as tight as we want before we invest again to patch everything up.
I feel like I teed up the question intentionally because the question was the integration of the BI platform enough to either get non-adopters of any tool to move, or the customers that have already looked at Tableau and are maybe facing those same scalability issues to take another look at Lumira. What about the pound-for-pound comparison of the analytic visualization capabilities between the two tools? With 1.27 out, Tableau 9. What is it? I don't even know.
Yep.
Are we at a point that integration is enough to outweigh the potential gains that the end user is actually getting out of using Tableau on their desktop? Scalability concerns be damned.
So I actually think we're at the point where it's largely a religious sort of debate, right, between Tableau and Lumira. I think that if you hold down a Tableau user and start pulling out toenails, they will not come up with anything super compelling about why Tableau is so much better, other than it may have this one type of chart, or it happens to integrate this one type of data better, right? And even those things, it's they're the exact same points on the other side for Lumira, right? They have this chart, or they integrate this data better. And actually, on the Lumira side, I think that they integrate a lot of data a lot better. So I really think it's just, if you've been using Tableau for 5 years, you're going to still like Tableau. If you're just getting started and you start with Lumira before you've started with anything else, I think you're going to love it. It reminds me a lot of when there were Crystal people and Webby people, which is still the case today, right? But you can do just about anything with either tool. It's just which one you're more comfortable with, which one you've got the time in with.
Yep.
Jamie, are you a Tableau user?
No, I actually I tried. I couldn't get it to make a chart. So there's that.
So you're dumber than however many million users. I don't know.
I like to think of myself as differently dumb than most of those users.
I meant that with all due affection. So,
So all that said, it's actually, sorry, I do have to mark it for a second. There is a new Data Genius challenge out. And so if you are a Tableau user and you are thinking about trying Lumira because it would be financially or technically advantageous for your company, it's a good time to go out, download the software for free, compete, get a T-shirt, and world renowned for your visualization exploits. So you can just Google Data Genius or go to saplumira.com and follow one of those wormholes.
Another T-shirt.
So,
my wife is really going to appreciate that. What?
Jamie, how's the marketing role going for SAP at the moment? You enjoying the change?
Yeah, I get a lot more mugs now, which is nice.
I just snorted. That's weird.
With all the coffee.
Oh, yes.
So, I find myself asking about the problems solved by integrating Lumira into the platform, or perceived problems solved. Like it points to future things like leveraging enterprise scheduling and promotion management and all those things. Are those features that your business users, IT, the love-hate relationship they have been clamoring for, that this is going to finally solve for?
I think so. I mean, I've shown Lumira to a lot of people at work and not at work, and they go in, they make a chart, they love it, and then it's immediately, how do I share this with somebody? Okay, great. So I've got it set up, I've shared it with somebody. How do I refresh it next month? So I think that those things are hugely important, right? I mean, it's not, and it's tough because that's not how you get people excited about a product, with scheduling and security and scalability and all that stuff. But as soon as the honeymoon is over with any tool, that's where you immediately go. And I think that's Lumira's real chance to knock it out of the park. But we've got to get it to where most of SAP's customers can use it from a licensing standpoint, from a version standpoint, from a technology standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big holes now is that you can't pull natively to HANA, whereas all the messaging is HANA first. So those are one of the little things that just is not right yet, in terms of when you say all SAP customers.
Yeah, do we have any idea how far out that is yet? Has that been announced?
Oh, man, the last I heard in Sapphire and it was kind of Q3. I don't know if there are any dates around that. Maybe at the SAP OUC, a new release.
Well,
is it big enough conference?
Well, let's hope that won't require a new release of the platform, right? Because I don't think people want to going to new SPs on the platform. I think that they would be a lot more comfortable updating their Lumira add-in, not their whole kit and caboodle.
Dallas, jog my memory here. I know both of us were part of Ramp Up for the BI platform add-on. Wasn't the phased approach going forward was to add backward compatibility as they went along with the release cycle?
So their intent is to support the last 3 support packs of the platform, and so that provides theoretically a broader audience. I'd still like to see it fully integrated and not be an add-in, but apparently I'm in the minority, and I haven't heard that tighter integration is coming in 4.2 either for either Lumira or Design Studio.
The thing is, I don't want to have to upgrade my platform as often as I'm going to need to upgrade Lumira for features, right? I mean, a new Lumira desktop comes out every month, and every third one is no longer compatible with whatever the last version of the server was. So I can't upgrade my BI platform every 3 months. I just can't do it. And if you have customers that are, great for them, but that's too aggressive, right? And it's especially dangerous now that all my end users need to do is help check for updates, and the next thing you know, they can't connect to the server. I mean, it's a big matzo ball hanging out there, and I think we've got to get it resolved. And upgrading my platform every month is not the solution.
A what ball? A matzo ball.
Matzo ball.
Walk away, Jamie. Walk away.
Okay.
I think you hit on a really salient point there, and it even goes further. SAP is going to have to get something really right, and really for what I would call for the first time, with all due respect, and that is, it's not just the business objects platform, it's not just the Lumira server, and it's not just Lumira on the desktop, but it's also going to be HANA, because that appeal of streaming data on a visualization and not having to let that data touch locally is a draw, and it is a competitive advantage. But the reality is, and we've seen it in our own lab, you take one wrong misstep on versions and you're out of support and crap doesn't work. And so
it's hard enough to make it work when you are in support.
It's tricky. I mean, Eric, it's such a good point, because if you've got Lumira, you've got Design Studio, Lumira Server on HANA, you've got HANA, you've got business objects. It's a situation of having 5 or 6 different PAMs open to make sure that this will check with that. So it gets super complicated. And I mean, the reality is that the development teams are all split. Even within business objects, the development teams are split. So how that all stays in sync, so that you can upgrade it at a time is tricky.
Yeah, and to pile on with one of Dallas's often complaints is I needed to work on IE8 as well. That's not too much to ask.
Stop. And my other ask as a part of that though is, look how long Explorer felt like the redheaded stepchild. And I speak from experience here, right? Okay, well, not on the stepchild part, but Explorer only now is integrated. How long does Lumira have to live out there on its own, and Design Studio have to be an add-on? If we're gonna run simple, integrate. Don't make me maintain 6 different versions of everything. So, as you look to the roadmap, and I'm strangely out of date on where Lumira is headed at the moment on the desktop. What compelling things do you guys know of on the roadmap that you think can further chip away at that market share, or even the other tools inside of the BI Core platform that are hanging on by life support?
So my perception on this is quite interesting. Josh, who's too busy to join us today, and I did a Q&A for SAP Insider for a conference in Singapore around Lumira Q&A, basically Lumira Q&A. And there still seems to be confusion about what tool fits where. It was, we are kind of at a debrief afterwards, and people are like, well, where do I use Webby? Where do I use Lumira? Where do I use dashboards? There's still, strangely enough, even though I think SAP have been quite clear with, with basically saying Design Studio, Webby, Crystal, and Lumira, that's it. And then obviously analysis for Office. In the field and out there, people still have a sort of misconception. Another thought in terms, sorry, before I open it up, is in terms of all the different products where Lumira will fit in and where it doesn't, is a bit, so if people are, say, going off 3.1 where they're just pure Webby and they want to look at a dashboarding solution. So you say, well, you've got to look at Design Studio because that's the future state of SAP, but Design Studio might not be where dashboards are. So it's also that tricky path of how do you guide them in the right direction as the tools catch up to their predecessors, such as Excelsius and dashboards?
Well, I think that people are confused because they're just not ready to hit the ground running with Lumira and Design Studio. I mean, they're just not. You can't stop creating Webby content. You can't stop creating Excelsius dashboards. You can't stop creating Explorer information spaces if you have, because the new tools just aren't there, or they're not. You can't get started with them. So I will say I do think SAP have done a wonderful job trying to enable their customers on some of this stuff. I'm just like with Design Studio especially, I think that there's still just a big gap and a big functionally and in what we're resourced for and things like that to really jump in with both feet. One thing that I'm on the Lumira roadmap, to take it back to Eric's earlier question, that I'm still really excited about is the Lumira Design Studio integration, wherein someone would create a data set and a storyboard in Lumira and be able to open that in Design Studio and extend it. Because I think that would be a great way to get people more comfortable with Design Studio, right? If I can go and make my 3 charts, but gosh, I really need it to pop up, or I really need to embed a hyperlink that's dynamic, or whatever that next set is, I think that integration would help jumpstart people poking around and getting more comfortable with Design Studio and moving forward. But right now, I think Design Studio is just too scary on its own for most customers.
I mean, it's going to take a WYSIWYG interface for Design Studio before you see the masses of dashboard developers making a leap over to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've sat in a couple of meetings with dashboard Excelsius people in our dash, and they just look at Design Studio and said, I'm just flat out not interested. I don't want to learn JavaScript. Of which I'm saying, well, from a career perception, maybe it's time to learn, but the sort of people that religiously use this stuff every day just aren't interested in Design Studio yet.
Well, and I think that's just because, I mean, if you think about the people who are designing 90% of the dashboards in the world using Excelsius, they're not people who used to be Java developers that went back to this Excel Flash mashup to put stuff out, right? These are people who are really good Excelsius users, or really good Excel users, or really good Crystal Report developers, and those aren't real developers, for lack of a better word, right? Those are great tool users. And Design Studio is not a tool for tool users, it's a tool for developers.
Dallas, didn't you mention something about Flash expiring on one of the browsers? I mean, is that maybe the path that'll force people to move to the new technology?
I think that's certainly going to be a factor. There's just been a lot of, a lot of negative press coming, that Mozilla had to go to all the trouble to disable all versions of Adobe Flash until a security vulnerability was patched. So it is totally possible that we're going to see IT organizations push back and say we've got to get Flash out of the enterprise. So that'll be an interesting spin on the future of Explorer and dashboards, because maybe they aren't going to ride into the sunset. Maybe the plugin's going to be taken away. Before we'd really like it to go.
Well, I think it will be a very interesting conversation that a lot of us SAP analytics professionals will be having with our IT departments when we say that all of our users need to have IE to support their dashboards and Chrome to support their Lumira stories.
Awkward. I think in a not too distant vein, the other challenge that I don't think we've heard SAP take up as we migrate to these tools is, what's the migration path for my old content? Like stuff of old, is it just going to be dead where there's feature gaps or whatever? What's going to happen here in Explorer information spaces that you covet, Jamie?
Well, I mean, the thing about Explorer is it should really be easy to cut over to Lumira Server the second that Lumira Server can be made to behave like Explorer, right? If there is a view in Lumira that behaved exactly like Explorer did, which I would think would not be a huge deal, then I'm ready to turn off Explorer tomorrow, right? Because Explorer, I don't have to put any thought into creating it, right? I'm limited to just selecting universe objects, and assuming in the future I can just select universe objects, I'm all in, right? Nobody cares if it's Flash or not Flash from an end user perspective, so I'm ready to cut over. I know that, at Sapphire, they have some Design Studio templates that look a lot like Explorer. But again, my developers that develop information spaces are the kind that are fully capable of clicking on universe objects and not fully capable of writing JavaScript. So, I need that to be completely out of the box. But I'll cut that over immediately. I think the trick will be that Excelsius content to Design Studio content. I don't think that there's ever going to be an easy button for that. I think it will just be as requirements for specific dashboards push people away from Flash or from, needing to be better on a mobile device or needing to be more responsive or needing something that Excelsius can no longer deliver. I think then people will cut over, but I can see a world where, kind of like with Desky and Webby, where both run in parallel for a very long time for a lot of organizations.
So that's a super interesting question that Dallas leaves us with, though. Will the enterprise kill Flash, thereby Excelsius first, or will SAP? It's kind of a race to the finish. Let's put a bow on this. It's been a good conversation. Anybody going to interesting conferences anytime soon? What's happening in the community? We don't care about
it. Down south in Australia, it is our annual summit, the SORG Summit, SAP Australia User Group Summit in Sydney at the wonderful Hilton Hotel in about a month's time, which will be cool. It's a two-day event. All the local Aussies. I think there are about 11 or 12 of the local mentors going, so that'll be pretty cool. And then in the beginning of September, there's the SAP Insider event in Singapore again. Fourth year I'm going. I will be in that amazing pool alone because none of you gents will be joining me. But by all accounts, that event has grown from strength to strength. So from your local events, that's what's happening out this part of the world. I don't expect any huge announcements, but that's what's happening here.
I'll try and make the pool if I can.
In spirit, brother. In spirit, I'll FaceTime you in.
Oh, that'll make it all the better. SABOUC is right around the corner here in Austin, Texas. Here, ASUG.
Nice
conference.
FOMO.
And TechEd, Las Vegas is starting to flare up a little bit.
Yep, I will be there. I will be speaking.
Oh, keynotes always.
We're still working on my contract writer for that.
I unfortunately will not be in TechEd this year, boys. So just sorry about that. Sorry to break that to you. I know you all been drinking, and it's going to be emotional.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Who's going to man the selfie bowl?
Who isn't?
Yeah. See what you started, Clint.
Oh man, I need more coffee.
Anything else I'm missing there?
I don't know. Were you guys all going to SABOUC?
I will not be there.
Oh. Okay.
Enjoy the barbecue for me.
4 breakout sessions from this guy. So
wow.
I will be there. I'm making a couple for Jamie.
He's actually going to work at this conference.
Yeah, but I'm gonna pay somebody to stand in line for me at Franklin Barbecue, so it'll be all right.
All right. Well, it's been fun to get back together with you guys. Let's do this again sooner than 4 months from now.
Cheers, brothers.
Later, boys.
See ya.
This podcast is hosted and sponsored by EV Technologies. visit us on the net at SaveTheCMS.com.
D-Slayer!